What happens if the internet suddenly disappeared? No warning, no countdown, no time to prepare. 1 second, you're watching this video or scrolling through your favorite app, and the next, the signal is gone. The Wi-Fi doesn't work, mobile data doesn't load, the world's servers go silent. Think about it. No social media, no streaming, no YouTube, no Google, not even a simple email. It sounds like the beginning of a science fiction story, but it's also a question that reveals just how deeply humanity depends on something we can't even see. So today, let's ask, if the internet vanished in an instant, what would really happen to our world? Welcome to What Happens If, the podcast where we explore strange, fascinating scenarios and dive into their hidden consequences. In this episode, we're looking at a modern nightmare, a world without the internet. We'll explore the immediate chaos, the economic crash, the social transformation, and finally, whether humanity would collapse or adapt. So let's start at the beginning. The first few hours after the internet disappears would be pure confusion. At home, you might think it's just your Wi-Fi acting up. Maybe you'd restart your router, try switching to mobile data, but soon you'd notice nothing loads. Then you'd realize it's not just you, it's everyone. Banks would freeze immediately. ATMs rely on internet connections. Credit card machines would stop working. Flights would be grounded because air traffic systems can't update. Hospitals would lose access to patient databases, test results, even communication between departments. News outlets wouldn't be able to publish online. Governments couldn't send updates to their citizens. And ironically, the internet itself is where we'd normally look to understand what's happening. So without it, people would be left in the dark, literally and figuratively. By the end of the first day, panic would begin. Stock markets run on digital systems, and with no internet, they collapse instantly. Investors can't buy or sell. Trillions of dollars vanish in hours. Ordinary people would feel it too. Most don't carry much cash anymore. Without online banking or card payments, buying even basic necessities like food or gas would become nearly impossible. Lines at physical banks and stores would stretch for blocks. And then comes communication. Without messaging apps, video calls, or email, the world shrinks overnight. You can only talk to the people physically near you. Long-distance relationships, remote jobs, global collaboration, all gone in an instant. Families would feel this most. Imagine parents working abroad or children studying in another country. Suddenly, they're unreachable. No phone call, no text, no update. Just silence. Now let's talk economics. The internet is the backbone of modern trade. Shipping companies, supply chains, warehouses, all coordinated online. Without it, goods don't move. Food rots in storage. Medicine fails to arrive where it's needed. E-commerce vanishes overnight. Amazon, eBay, online grocery stores, gone. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Spotify, gone. Cloud services like Google Drive, Dropbox, Microsoft Teams, gone. Every industry tied to the digital world crumbles. Millions, even billions, would be out of work. Ironically, though, some industries would suddenly become valuable again. Local shops, physical newspapers, postal services, and radio stations would experience a rebirth. The economy wouldn't just crash, it would reset. pushing us decades backward almost instantly. Culturally, the changes would be huge. At first, some people might feel relieved. No more doom scrolling, no more social media anxiety, no endless TikTok rabbit holes. Families might spend more time together. Communities might rediscover face-to-face conversations. But the negatives would outweigh the positives. Education would collapse. Universities and schools that rely on online tools would scramble to adapt. Millions of students who depend on digital resources would be cut off from learning. Journalism would regress too. Without online platforms, news would return to print or radio, slower, less global, less accessible. And entertainment? Forget streaming. You dust off old DVDs, CDs, maybe even cassette tapes. Gamers would lose access to online play. Entire communities, built on shared digital spaces, gone overnight. But here's a bigger issue. The internet has become humanity's memory. Think about it. If you want to know something, you search it. If you want to remember something, you save it. Take that away, and our collective knowledge shrinks dramatically. The psychological shock might be even worse than the economic one. We've grown addicted to instant answers. Without the internet, people would feel lost, restless, even anxious. For younger generations who've never lived without it, the world would feel alien. Some might adapt, finding comfort in offline hobbies, books, or in-person friendships. But for others, especially those who rely on digital communities for support, the silence could be devastating. Now let's look long-term. Would humanity collapse? Not necessarily. Humans are resilient. Over time, we'd rebuild. New systems would emerge to replace what we lost. Local communication networks might form. Libraries might regain importance. Radio could become the central hub for news and entertainment. We might even find ourselves more grounded, relying less on endless data and more on personal memory and community. But the truth is, modern civilization has become too dependent on the internet. Medicine, science, banking, even agriculture depend on data flows. Without it, billions would suffer. Some countries might adapt faster than others, but the gap between nations would widen dramatically. So, what happens if the internet disappears? At first, chaos, then collapse, and finally, adaptation. We'd lose the global village, the instant communication, the shared digital memory that defines us. But maybe, just maybe, we'd rediscover slower, more human ways of living. The real question is this: are we too dependent on the internet to survive without it? Or could losing it remind us of what it truly means to be human? Thanks for listening to What Happens If. Would you thrive without the internet, or would you feel lost? Comment below and share your thoughts. And as long as the internet still exists, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more episodes of What Happens If.